Today I'm going to be playing Poppy Playtime Chapter 3.
But are your children safe from Playtime Co.'s latest toy? What you've seen here is Playtime Co.'s own Smiling Critters, a limited series cartoon meant to celebrate the release of the toys sharing its name. Yet both now face the fire sparked by the inclusion of one key member. This is catnap.
And when your children go to sleep, you will brutally diddle them.
The exact cause of these incidents still unknown, only one thing appears glaringly certain. Your children are not safe with catnap.
Yeah, I think I know that. Alright, that was a W intro, and I would definitely trust this guy with my kids. But we start the game in a trash compactor and have to escape through a series of puzzles. My favorite. The first puzzle being this giant piston machine thing, which then leads us to a second room that, you guessed it, has a giant piston machine. After we escape the giant pistons, we go through a ventilation system and get to another room, which, you guessed it, has another puzzle. I'm starting to wonder if these games add puzzles to make the gameplay longer. But anyways, we escape the third puzzle in the first 3 minutes of gameplay when we find this weird statue of Bubba Fint.
I'm Bubba Fenton.
Like, my god, are you okay? But anyways, we make it to the next room with yet another puzzle. But we then find this phone that just starts talking to us, and his name is Ollie, apparently.
Hey, can you hear me?
So here, Ollie starts yapping about how he wants to save us, so he gives us a battery that can open a door.
Whoa! Did you do that?
Here, Ollie starts yapping again about something that happened in Chapter 2. Basically, Poppy crashed the train that we were in to escape from the factory back in Chapter 2, which caused it to explode. This then led us to Catnap throwing us away. We then do one more puzzle. This then leads us to Playtime. And you might be asking yourself,
What's Playtime?
well, you'll see in a second.
Hello, my name is Elliot Ludwig. A smile is love. A smile is understanding.
Like, my god, how big do you have to make a Playtime? It's literally just a giant dome for like 20 kids to have fun and sleep.
And there is nothing more gratifying to my soul than being the reason for a child's smile. They deserve to love, and they deserve a safe home.
Okay, but anyways, here we start.
Part 1. Intro to Playtime.
All we do in this part is just listen to Ollie yap about what to do and how to bring the power and how it's like broken or whatever. So we just have to do like a few puzzles to get it back on, all to find out again that somebody cut the power. So let's just move on to part 2, because this part is just way too boring to look at. It's so repetitive. We grab the key and open up our way to part 2, Home Sweet Home. Once we make it into the Home Sweet Home building, we find a separate room with a bunch of gas in it that puts us into a nightmare. That's why our hands disappear in the corners. Then we go down an extremely long hallway to a bunch of more hallways that branch out. And this took me like half an hour to do because of how many hallways it is. But eventually we make it to a final room where we see this nightmare chase.
Greetings, employees, and welcome to your first day here in Playtime. We're certain that in the days to come, you'll find your new family here every bit as loving and supportive as your own. And should you come back years later, your conscience finally getting the better of you, may you descend into the dark and the dust, finding all that awaits you are incomprehensible horrors, each hungry for your return, each eager that they might find you. Perhaps they'd smile at you from a shadow, their smiling mouths full of teeth and meat and plastic, watching and waiting patiently for their turn at a warm welcome. Or perhaps they won't allow you such time to figure your place in the world you'd left, a world that's theirs now. Welcome home.
Like, oh my god, what kind of otherworldly crap are you on? The game developers, oh my god. But anyways, we jump down a hole into a pit with a racing car, and we have to break the wall with it to get to the living quarters. But I have a question. Do the kids have to break it every time they want to get there? 'Cause that just sounds so inefficient. But anyways, here we start one of many, many puzzles inside of Home Sweet Home. Here, you have to find lots of batteries around it so that you can light up a door and escape with the power. Oh, and here we find Kissy Missy crying about her dead body. Lore, am I right? And here we find this creepy guy that like turns at us. It just doesn't look right. No, it just doesn't. But we get to pull out his battery and he stops looking at us. Finally. Here we finally get one of the batteries and complete half of the puzzle. Next, we finally complete this puzzle 20 minutes later, and now we've completed one out of about 4 puzzles in this section. But I skipped 2 of the other puzzles because they were literally just the same puzzle as the other one, just in different rooms of the house. So I'm gonna go to the last one because it's actually different. Yeah, it was literally just a regular puzzle. I just didn't know what to do, but I didn't realize until the very end that you could just turn it off and then turn it back on again, and that was the solution to the puzzle. That annoyed me so much. But anyways, after we finish that puzzle, the generator gets turned on, but we get jumped by Kissy and Poppy for like literally no reason. But they take us on like an escalator and start yapping about some random bullcrap, but we don't care about that. So, we reroute the power back to the statue, and Ollie gives us another key so we can go to the schoolhouse, which is in Part 3, the schoolhouse. So, here, Ollie and Miss Delight start speaking. And if you don't know who Miss Delight is, she's another one of the monsters that lives in the schoolhouse. And she just carries around a giant pencil named Barb, who she uses to attack. For the schoolhouse, there's 2 main types of puzzles. The first one being one where you have to take electricity from one spot and put it into the other to open gates to newer sections. The second one being where you have to take a battery and put it into a slot that can power doors and electrical sockets so you can get into newer sections. Here, after about an hour and a half of these puzzles,
you're 1 sentence away from launching your website with Base 44. Since the beginning of the internet, there's never been such a...
Gotcha. This is the part where I tell you to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. This is because I'm on the path to 1,000 subscribers, and so I can make more cool videos like this in the future. Alright, now back to the video. Miss Delight breaks the generator that we just fixed, and she starts a chase scene where she can only move if we're not looking at her, or if the lights flicker. So here, during the chase scene, there will be a lot of flashing lights, so if you have epilepsy, or if you just don't want to watch it, skip to the time that I've placed on the screen. Oh, and there won't be any voiceovers during the chase scene because it's just too much to add and there's not really anything to talk about just because it's like puzzles and Mr. Lynch chasing you. So that you might want to skip just because of that. after that incredible chase scene, we start to make our escape. So, we go through a door, and we end up in a massive cave system. God knows why the school connects to the cave system, but I don't know. Teachers just chilling in the cave, I guess. Oh yeah, something I forgot to mention is that somewhere in between that, we obtained the purple hand that just kind of lets you jump higher if you have a giant purple pad. So that's another thing that you need to know for this. But for this part, we use the green hand to power the purple pads, so we can use the purple hand to jump over jagged parts of the cave, which then takes us to this really different puzzle than like everything else we've seen. So this one was pretty fun compared to the other ones, but it took me like another hour to do because I'm really bad at puzzles. So here's a quick montage of me doing this for about an hour. What I got stuck on this one was figuring out that you just had to turn it off and then back on again to like solve the puzzle. So I just like started messing with it for like 30 minutes until I realized I just had to do that. It just really pissed me off, man. But once we finally finish that puzzle, we go to the next part of the cave, where we see Catnap just, like, kind of worshipping the prototype, which is what this statue represents. And I wouldn't call it, like, disturbing, but it's, like, very unsettling in a way. But once we finish looking at that, we find a door that finally leads to the exit. That was, like, the longest part. But nope, just kidding, it leads to Part 4. The Playhouse. The Playhouse starts, surprisingly, with a place that looks like children play in. What a shock! But as we walk through this labyrinth of tunnels, we find out that there's no children, probably because they're all dead. Or it's because there's little crittery eyes that roam around through here that are super annoying. And the first time I saw one of these, I got absolutely scared to death by one of them. It was insane. Oh, also, it's really loud, so if you're wearing like headphones or earbuds, like turn the volume down. Yeah, that jump scare made me jumping out of my seat because of how like just loud it was. I had my headphones at max volume. Oh, and also if you're hearing background noise, that's just my 3D printer running for a math project that I have. Oh, and these smile guys are just everywhere. I'm just gonna play a montage of me shooting like a flame gun at them every single time I saw one, because there's a lot of them. Oh, and since there's so many of these guys, I'm just gonna put them all on the screen at the same time. Oh, and here's the total amount of them on screen right here. Oh, and after all of that, we finally complete the puzzle that was just kind of happening in the background. You just had to like power two buttons. It was not that exciting, so I just kind of cut it out. But now we get to a funner part where we get to another chase scene with a guy named Doctor.
You're Pappy's angel.
And here he kind of just yaps about how he's our savior and whatever. So I don't know. But now I'm just gonna kind of skip to the actual fun part about the chase. Oh, and also don't look at the picture on screen.
Come to save us.
Nope.
Nothing left to save. Not here.
Okay, but what happens here is Dog Day kind of gets possessed by the smiling critters because they like crawl inside of him, which I just like hate to think about. That sounds so disgusting. But they kind of like crawl inside of him and start controlling him, and they chase after us by like crawling on his hands because I think they already ate his legs. But this chase kind of happens throughout what we've already seen in the playhouse. So it's just a bunch of tunnels that we crawl through as he's like chasing us, and that's basically all it is for about like 2 minutes. So it's not that exciting, but it's more exciting than those stupid like puzzles with the batteries. But we end off the chase by sliding down a slide and going through a metal door and just kind of closing it on him. I don't really know what happens to him after that, because we never really see him again, but I'm just gonna assume that he's dead. But once we finally finish the dog day chase, we go down a slide and we finally escape the playhouse. This is short-lived though, because immediately after, Ollie calls us to talk about another key, because we need more power for his concoction or whatever he's doing. So we have to go to the counselor's office. And guess what the counselor office is part of? Because it's part of
Part 4. The counselor's office.
the counselor's office starts off with a puzzle, but it's not any puzzle. It's literally just a battery hidden inside of a vent. It took me 30 minutes to solve it, but in the next room, it's the exact same thing. It's just another hidden battery. But this time I literally couldn't find it. I searched for like another half hour until I realized that I could just grab the battery into the last room and pull it into this one. So that's just what I did. I really couldn't find it. But once we make it past those 2 battery bins, we find a hallway of like broken stuffed animals, and like I'm pretty sure these were like the alive ones too. But after we have to go through that horrifying hallway, we pull out another battery and open the door with the battery to go down this other hallway with yet another bunch of dead toys. My favorite. But once we get past those, we go to this random puzzle in like a gap between the rooms, I guess, and it leads to a giant cave. I don't really know why they just added a giant cave to the counselor's office of all places, but I don't know, they just did then. Oh, and this one random puzzle in the cave that we just kind of had to side quest to took me another hour and a half. I don't know why, I'm just really bad at puzzles. But once I finally do complete this really hard puzzle that's not actually that hard, and do this scene where we just kind of watch a video of what appears to be a woman, like, trying to get a child from play care, and then being denied because the kid was being put through a test, but, like, she didn't understand that. It's kind of sad. So you can skip it if you want. I put the time on the screen, but...
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Hartman. Come on in. Please, have a seat. How was your ride down?
It was, nothing like we were expecting. Mr. Ludwig's speech was, well, it just confirms for us that you're the orphanage we want to go through.
It's a truly magical place. I felt right at home from the second I entered. You opened that door the first time and you just know. You're never going to leave. Kind of like finding a home as a child and always thinking of it when you want to feel comforted. I understand you want to give Jeremy that home? Yes, and we would like to adopt. Ah, amazing. You'll be perfect for... Oh. What? Well, it appears there's been some complications. Complications? Oh, what kind of complications? I don't know. The form says testing. What does that mean? Tell us, what does that mean?
Miss Graper, we deserve a better explanation than that. Don't you think?
You're in charge of all this. How could you not know?
And why are we only finding out about this now?
I don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that video was pretty sad if you watched it, kind of. But then we cut to this, where, I mean, this just really weird thing happens. Comment down below if you know why this glitch happens, because I tried to Google it, but nothing really showed up, and I'm kind of curious, so it would be really helpful if you did. And these 3 times weren't the only time that they happened, so Like, I don't know, but I'm just really curious on why that happened. But enough about the stupid card and after this, we go to a room where we have to use the gas mask that we got from Home Sweet Home, because the gas, like, is toxic, I think. So, we have to solve another battery puzzle. How fun. But once we do that, we get to another puzzle, but this one's way different than, like, all the other ones we've been seeing, because there's multiple elements in it. This puzzle incorporates like different elements, like the purple hand, where you have to like jump with it and power it up with this other element that you have to shoot like a hand with electricity through holes. That sounds so wrong. To power the purple stuff, and then there's also batteries. But yeah, it's just kind of nice to see different puzzles other than only batteries. But once we finally open the door, we turn on the generator, which means we can finally use the power and beat the stupid game. But no, 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 you didn't think we were actually gonna beat the game, did you? Cause not here, Catnap's here. But here, Catnap knocks us into a dream sequence where Poppy kind of leads us through what is called the Hour of Joy, but that's a bunch of lore stuff that only I care about. And yes, I do love lore, but I'm just gonna skip that because it's literally just talking about all the toys killing people. So we wake up from that dream sequence and we just immediately kind of leave. Well, Catnap warns us to leave. And then we do, so I don't know. But we do plug in the generator to the main statue thing. But then Ollie says that we are still a little bit short, so we have to go back to where we were talking to Poppy earlier, and we finally have enough power. The little power meter says 100 and starts beeping really loudly. It's very annoying. But we go back to that one spot called the gas production zone, and we plug in the giant blue battery so we can switch the gas from going right to left for whatever reason Ollie wants the gas smart gas. Wait a minute. Where the did that battery come from? But anyway, we get this very random jump scare from Catnap, just kind of out of the blue. Oh my god, I thought this was a children's horror game, not whatever that bony creature is. But here's where the actual boss battle starts.
I hope this is coming through. There's no time to waste.
Here, Poppy started explaining how the boss battle works, but we don't need to listen to her because I definitely did look up how to do the boss battle really easily or anything. Yeah, I just came up with a strategy on my own, so that's what we're gonna be doing instead of actually doing it. So what we need right here is for Catnap to come through the ceiling instead of one of the 4 corridors, and I'll explain why in a minute. So here, Catnap took the bait, and I'll also just kind of explain why we need this to happen. Basically, Catnap can come through one of each of the 4 corridors and 1 trapdoor on the ceiling. And how the fight works is that in each hallway, there will be 3 fake Catnaps and 1 real one. But on the ceiling trapdoor, the one that comes through will always be real. And this is how the strategy works. If he's coming through the trapdoor, he can never leave until it fully closes. And if you pull it down and then let go right before it closes, and repeat this over and over again, he can never leave, and you can beat it very easily. And so here, the computer finally charged up enough so that we could kill Catnap, basically. Also, for some reason, the prototype comes in and just kind of kills Catnap. Or did he just kind of shrug at the prototype like, I don't know, just kill me, I guess. But with Catnap finally gone, we can head back to the main, facility and press the button to turn, all the gas from going right to left. Which, I don't know, kind of saves the day. And we get the end of the chapter. Well, almost. First, Poppy shows us a video of Hour of Joy, which, I don't know. I'm just gonna play it, but you guys can skip it if you want. But somehow, immediately after this, I managed to die. I don't even think that was, meant to happen, or, even possible. But I managed to anyways. But Poppy starts yapping again for, the 20 billionth time, until she finally gets Kissy to put us down on the elevator and go down. So we get this final scene.
Alright, once we hit the ground, we need to be cautious. There's something... No! We're coming! Just hold on! Come on, go faster! Kissy!
Alright guys, thanks for watching. Comment down below if I should play Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, or if I should go forward and play Chapter 4 next. Or any other game recommendations I should try next. But alright, thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time.